My superpower is engineering. I've been a roboticist almost all my life now. I think engineering is just as creative as the arts. Engineers, we solve problems. It impacts the world. It makes a difference. Without IEEE, I don't think I would have the network that I have. Anyone can get involved with IEEE USA at any time. There's an immense amount of value for anyone at any career stage.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to today's IEEE USA livestream webinar, Getting a Job at the Department of Defense Can Happen Much Faster Than You Think. I will now pass it off to one of our presenters for today's webinar, Program Manager at the National Security Innovation Network, Fareed Nemri. Welcome, Fareed, and Debbie, and Anna.
Thank you, Jonathan. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. It's really a privilege and an honor to be with all the brilliant talent at IEEE. So thank you for your time. Before we start to dig in about, Hirethon as a program and all the opportunities it aims to provide you all with, let's maybe start with who we are and where do we exist. Next slide, please, Jonathan. So Hirethon is a program at NSIN, the National Security Innovation Network. And NSIN is this problem-solving network at the DoD that aims to connect different communities, in specific, the defense community, the academic and research community, and the entrepreneurial and innovative community, all together to solve big national security problems in new and creative ways. Next slide, please. One of the ways that NSIN does its work is through its different portfolios that have different focuses and emphasis. But one of them is the National Service Portfolio, under which Hirethon exists. So at the National Service Portfolio, we really aim to create new opportunities for national security service for those who are interested and have been familiar with national security work and DoD work, but also for those who might not otherwise been interested or curious about that kind of work. So we aim to work with the different communities I mentioned and provide flexible pathways for official national security service within the Department of Defense. One of the ways we do so is through Hirethon. Next slide, please. So Hirethon, as you can see, we're a small part of a really big defense community, as you can imagine. Next slide, please, Jonathan. And Hirethon is a program that allows us to provide you with that official pathway to gain opportunities, whether it's full-time job opportunities, internships, scholarships, fellowships within the Department of Defense, but in a faster and a more rapid format. So we focus on STEM talent like you, the engineers, the computer scientists, the software developers, and connect them with different opportunities that happen really fast. And if successful, you can get your next opportunity at the DoD in a more rapid format. Next slide, please. So one thing to know is, yes, we do connect you with the great opportunities, but the DoD organizations that we work with are the ones who are evaluating and reviewing your profiles and resumes as you apply for these opportunities. So we do not intervene in the evaluation process. You are reviewed and totally assessed by the hiring organization. But we help you go through that process faster through leveraging what already exists in the federal government. So there are certain pathways like direct hire authority or cyber accepted services. Some of you might be familiar with these that allow the DoD to hire STEM talent in a more fast format. Next slide, please. So the way we do this is pretty simple, like any other job opportunity. But Hirethon starts with an application. The DoD organization and us would work together. We launch the application, and it would be around a month of recruitment. So it has a very strict deadline for every single opportunity throughout the year. But it's important to know that mostly they're around 1 month only. So you would submit your application, then it's a very simple process, very simple application, mostly involving the submission of your resume and some basic contact information. After that, the DoD organization that we work with would review you as you submit your application, and it's it's really safe to expect that if you're successful and are offered an interview, your interview would be scheduled 1 to 2 weeks right after the application deadline. Sometimes it's even earlier than that, and the DoD organization might reach out and schedule something before the deadline for the application is even over. So pretty quick process, as you can see. And then the DoD organization and the hiring manager would communicate their intent to offer you the job or internship or opportunity that exists and work with you to finalize the process and get hired. You can imagine there is some paperwork that, in addition to the Hirethon application, needs to be submitted and worked upon with the DoD organization that's hiring to complete the process. So as you can see, pretty simple. We like to accelerate it as much as we can and make sure you are connected with your next opportunity as soon as possible. Next slide, please. One reason, other than us being super accelerated and fast, is why we're unique is because we have a regional network team that works across the United States and its territories to connect the different communities we work with, and especially the military and defense community. So we are everywhere, and that means our opportunities are everywhere in every region, in every discipline, with every branch or research lab at the Department of Defense. So this is just a way to remind you that even if some of the opportunities that are open now in early 2021 and January and February throughout the year, we have multiple opportunities coming up. So please subscribe or follow us on our social media pages, LinkedIn. Keep checking our website. Send us an email if you have any questions, because many, many opportunities are yet to come throughout the year. Next slide, please. So just to give you an idea of what is currently happening and what kind of opportunities exist at the moment, we have 5 different DoD organizations that are looking for talent, mostly STEM, and would love to have you consider those opportunities and apply. Air Force Materiel Command at 309th. We have Debbie Roach today with us, who will speak about the software engineering group and all the amazing work they do. The deadline for that one is the end of this month. The Joint Special Operations Command and their global analytics platform is recruiting. The United States Cyber Command, the Naval Surface Warfare Center, and the NSA Lab for Physical Sciences, from which we have Dr. Anna Melker, who will speak to you a bit about the Lab for Physical Sciences and what kind of talent they're looking for. And the deadline for that one is mid-February, as you can see. So you will have this available. If you want to take a screenshot, remember this. You can also visit the website you see in front of you to gather that detail, all these details, and make sure you are submitting your application before the deadlines. So now, without further ado, I will transition into the amazing Debbie from Air Force Materiel Command. She's a workforce development specialist and has worked on many, many STEM programs within the DoD. And this is a great opportunity for us to hear from her. Debbie, the virtual floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Okay, hello everybody, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. Hopefully I can live up to all that, but I am so excited to be here with you all. I work in particular, with the Air Force Materiel Command, which we'll talk about, but in particular, I work for the 309 Software Engineering Group, and I am located at Hill Air Force Base in Utah. I will be also talking about Patrick Air Force Base in Florida, which is one of our geographically separate units while I'm here. Okay, and I am here because we're hiring. We're looking for people such as yourself. If you're looking for a job or if you just want to find out about us, that's what I'm here to do today. All right, Jonathan, next slide, please. Thank you. All right, so the Air Force Materiel Command. Air Force Materiel Command, also known as AFMC. We take care of all of the services, all of the goods for the Air Force is what we do under Air Force Materiel Command. And why we do that is so we can support our mission, which is to fly, fight, win in air, space, and cyberspace. And I get really excited about that because our missions kind of change just a little bit about that. And we're going to talk about that more as the slides just go. Air Force Materiel Command, nationwide, even internationally wide on some of that, which you'll see, we have about a little more than 80,000 people just in the Air Force Materiel Command. And about 70% of that 80,000 are people just like all of us right here. We're all civilian workers. And I love that you guys have how we can serve without the uniform. And I love that saying that NSIN has on that slide that was in the beginning. That's exactly right. So here's some of the stuff that we just do under Air Force Materiel Command. And with that as well, on some of it, one of my biggest parts that I get excited about, of course, it kind of goes with my software engineering group that I represent for today. But a lot of times we also have the privilege, the challenge to work on some of our weapon systems. They could be a big, wide variety of different things we're going to be working on. But these systems can be 60 years and plus. And how do we keep those still going to be able to support our mission? And I always like two of my favorite aircrafts that we get to work on is such as one is the A-10. The A-10, known as the Warthog, kind of is what everybody might be familiar with it. That's been in service since 1972. And boy, some of my new hires just coming out straight out of college, man, that is way before they can even imagine, right? That this plane's still here. And yet, why do we do that? One, because Congress won't let us retire that airplane, no matter, even if the Air Force says, we've said many times we want to retire it, Congress comes and says we're not. So how do we keep a plane from 1972 with the technology from 1972? How do we keep that going with the technology now in 2021? It's amazing to be working on it. Our F-16 that we have, the Falcon on here, how do we keep that up? That was first commissioned in the Air Force in 1978. It is still working. In fact, that's what our Thunderbirds get to fly on when they're doing all of their amazing air shows that they get to do. So I always love, I could take a pilot out that actually flew that plane in 1978, take them out to the runway here at Hill Air Force Base, and they would look at me and say, just on the outside, they say, yep, Deb, that's an F-16. Know it like the back of my hand. And I'm like, okay, that's great. You're exactly right. But if I open that cockpit open for them to look inside, that plane has changed tremendously. And why is that? It's because of all the software development that we have done to keep that plane up in the air, to be able to support the mission and to keep it current with the technology. And that's my favorite stories right there. And of course, we also work on the F-35. So we got some of that brand new technology, that 5th-gen kind of technology coming in. We work on the F-22 as well. Some of our people also work on satellites, GPS, missiles, and we'll talk more about that as well. Okay, Jonathan, next slide, please. Did I freeze? Next slide. Oh, there we go. Up, next slide. You got it, Jonathan. Thank you. All right, guys, saving lives through innovation. You bet this is what we do. Each and every single day, we do this kind of stuff for it. But today, what we're here for is we are here to talk to people such as yourself. We are looking for civilian SMEs, scientists, engineers, cyberspace. That is what we need to be able to support our mission, to be able to save lives of our biggest customer, which is the Air Force, and also the United States of America. That is our customer each and every day. And that's something else that I love is being a civilian, is that every day when I wake up, I feel like I know what my mission is. I know who my customer is, but I also feel every day I make a difference in my job with this to be able to support that for here. So our SMEs on here, they get to work with some of the latest and the greatest technology that's out there. And in fact, most of the times they're leading the way. They work with companies that maybe, I know you guys have heard, maybe you might even work, but we work with Northrop Grumman, we work with Lockheed Martin, we work with Boeing. And a lot of times we're able to take the lead on those projects. And it's probably because we work directly with our customer firsthand to know what they want. And so we're able to work with these companies as well. But a lot of times we're the ones who are going to take the leads in design and development, testing, implementation on this. So we get to be able to do all of that to make this mission just come. And to be able to do this, we really think this is like one of the best times to be able to join us to get our mission done. So we actually need somebody just like you to help us carry out this mission. Okay, Jonathan, next slide, please. All right, so I am here today and particularly representing Hill Air Force Base and Patrick Air Force Base. Now, on here, as you're looking at the slide, it kind of tells you a little bit about what our hiring forecast looks like for this year. That does change. Each year we get one. It kind of depends, and our retention rate this year has been really good. And that's kind of a couple of factors. Some of it's been because we're a great place to work, which we'll talk about that in a couple next slides, I think. But also because with COVID, we just didn't lose a lot of people. We had great job security with us. We never stopped working. We were always still receiving a paycheck. And some of us got to work remote. So we were constantly just keeping up with the times with it. So I think that's a good problem just to have. Here's the different degrees that we like. But let me tell you, just in case, if some of you have never been to Utah Hill Air Force Base, we are located just south of Ogden, if you're familiar with that, but I know you'll get this reference, or we are about 30 miles north of Salt Lake City. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we are in this great state of ours. I absolutely love living in Utah. We have 4 seasons, and so we are outside being able to play and enjoy a different kind of activity all year round. It's one of my favorite things to do. Patrick Air Force Base, totally on the opposite side. They are a GSU, a geographically separate unit. Now, saying that, we have some, and I have another slide you'll see, but how cool is that? I'm talking about the beautiful state of Utah. Now I'm going to talk about Florida over here, another beautiful state. Patrick Air Force Base is located on the Atlantic coast side of the state between Satellite Beach and Cocoa Beach. Who doesn't even want to go there just with that, right? Especially somebody like me in Utah, maybe just sometimes with the snow. But anyway, that sounds amazing. They take over the 45th space is what their main thing is going to be doing at Patrick Air Force Base. And I got to tell you, as of December of 2020, actually now I believe it is official. I kept my slide this way because I wanted to make sure I brought this up. In December 2020, our vice president at the time went there and made it official as now Patrick Space Force Base. So that gives you a little bit idea about what their mission. Overall, though, they're still part of the software engineering group, so they're going to still do the same thing. Their director is the same director that I report to each and every day while I'm here at Hill. We have a little bit over 2,000 people in the software engineering group. 69% of the 2,000 are all civilian SMEs. The rest of that are people such as myself who are here to support you in any single way that we possibly can, again, to make that mission happen. We do a lot of that cradle to grave kind of concept. As you can see, we help to develop brand new ideas. Again, a lot of this we'll get from our customers, the Air Force or Department of Defense from higher up above in the Pentagon. We'll get that. We have to create something, but then we're working it all the way through till even the A-10 to that grave, and we'll see how long we have to keep working for it. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so here's why I also love it. If that wasn't enough to get you excited about learning about our mission and how you make a difference each and every day, here's what we got for you guys, our benefits and incentives. So on here, absolutely, I want you guys to realize that we have some of the best benefits and incentives to go. We have a wide range for our health insurance policies, a wide range of different providers that you get to choose. You're not just forced in just taking one carrier to do that. You have choices on what you want. You can also use your pre-tax dollars to help pay for that, which is going to be a savings for it. One of the things I'm very excited about, this just passed, started October 2020, so it just started. We have up to 12 weeks paid parental leave. So not just do we have for maternal leave, but now we also have for our fathers, and we have leave for them as well with our parental leave. Now, how this works is you can get up to 12 weeks. It depends on how long you've worked, and you normally have to work for a year before you can take advantage of this. But parental leave means then, like I said, either male or female can take up to that leave. But it's not just even for the birth of your own child. This also accounts for if you adopted a child, if you are fostering a child. So all of this kind of fits into that. I love that. I think that's a fantastic thing, just to be able to go. We talked about in here our different kinds of holidays. Now, the big thing too is always to compare. I tell people it's very easy when you go in and you're working for different companies, you're going for interviews. Please always make sure, and you guys mostly all know this, you got to compare apples to apples, right? So what I love where I work is my sick days is separate than my vacation days. My husband works as a contractor for another company, and it's called PTO, your personal time off. And that's great, except you have to make sure that you keep track of how much of your personal time you're taking off for vacation, how much you have left for sick. Mine never combine. So I love it. With my sick leave, I get 13 paid sick days per year. But what I like is there's no stop to how much I can accumulate. So some places will tell you can only accumulate this much. If you don't use it, well, then I'm sorry, we take some away. Or I've seen some companies where they take the whole thing away by the end of the year. My company just keeps on letting you accumulate your sick leave. I love it. On my paid days off, I can only accumulate up to 240 hours, which if you guys figure out, that's quite a lot of vacation time. Anything after 240 of accumulation in that year, it's called I have to use it or lose it. Not that bad of a problem by any means that I have to. We also get to have what we call kind of like a flexible work schedule, because we really do like that work-life balance. So it's not even unheard, and it depends on what kind of schedule you work. We have different kinds of work schedule. That's something you would have to talk about with your supervisor, what you like, what works best for you. I'm on what they call a flex schedule. So with that, then it's not unheard of. Sometimes here in Utah in the winter, we'll get a killer storm the night before, and we get fresh powder, which is what Utah is known for. We got some of the best powder in the whole world for skiing and snowboarding. And some of us will wake up the next morning and we're like, man, it's just too good. I got to get out and go hit the slopes. We'll check in with our boss, and if we can go do it, we're out in the slopes for half a day. We'll come in and work the rest of our shift if we need to do it. That's that work-life balance, that flexible. But that's not for everybody. Like I said, that's something that you have to make sure, depending on the mission, suspense dates, and your supervisor with that. So anyway, guys, there's tons of different kinds of benefits and incentives that we can do for you guys with that. Next slide, please. All right, so on here, guys, very quick, you can see this is just all of the software engineering group where we are located. Everything in the blue, in particular Utah, that belongs to my group, the software engineering group of the 309th. That belongs to us, and you can see Utah there. You can see also Patrick Air Force Base. But if you look down below, we're also in Kadena in Japan. So if you wanted to, you're not limited. I could start off in Utah, and then in a couple of years, I want to go take advantage of being able to travel. I can look and see within the same group that I work for, can I go and maybe transfer and work in Japan? If I do that, if there's a job opening, guess what? I get to take all my benefits with me. I don't restart my 401k, which is our thrift savings plan, but very similar. I keep my pension plan going. I keep my sick leave, my vacation leave. I don't lose anything. So I love that. Everything in the green belongs to Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma, and everything in yellow in the software engineering group belongs to Robbins, which is located in Georgia. So thank you guys so much. Look forward to helping you out in the Q&A session. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Debbie. I hope you all found that helpful. Next, we'll discuss the Lab for Physical Sciences. And we have Dr. Anna Melker, who is a Technology and National Security Fellow at NSIN and assigned at LPS. Dr. Melker, the mic is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Farid. Hi, everybody. I'm working on a Hirethon with NSIN for the Laboratory of Physical Sciences, which is the National Security Agency's lab. It's like a national lab, but we work on very forefront of the fields. We have a big program in quantum information science and advanced computing. And you can see on this slide our various research areas. We are hiring physicists and electrical engineers and mechanical engineers. So please check out the Hirethon page for the job descriptions. We hire from interns, so you can be an undergraduate, you can be just got your bachelor's, you can be a graduate student that wants to do an internship during your graduate education, and we also have postdocs and full-time hires for research scientist positions. So some of the areas on this slide, I'll just read them out. We're working in additive manufacturing and hardware trust. We're working with printed and additive manufacturing for flexible electronics. We're also doing things in novel sensors and devices with integrated photonics and 2D materials. We have a huge program in quantum information sciences. And if you really want to push the field, the LPS is the place to go for that. And then we also have some work going on, big area in advanced computing systems. So please check the Hirethon website, see if your research experience interests align with us. We would love to interview you and tell you more about the cool work we're doing. And yeah, that's looking forward to your questions in the comments section.
All right, folks, we are now at the Q&A portion of the webinar. Go ahead and ask your questions in the comments section and we'll load them onto the stream for our presenters to answer. If you have a question for a specific presenter, please specify which presenter your question is directed towards as well. So here is our first question from the audience. It is not directed towards a specific presenter, so please answer however you would like.
I'm not sure if, Anna, you might find some opportunities there at LPS that touch on how to explore opportunities. One thing I can tell you from the Hirethon perspective is that we work with all kinds of DoD organizations, and it is safe to say that there is not a single discipline that the Department of Defense doesn't work on or doesn't hire for. So I hope that there will be opportunities, but if you can't find anything at the moment of what's currently available, I know Jonathan will help us share the link that you can see all the currently available opportunities, what we're currently recruiting for. Just follow NSIN, NSIN, the National Security Innovation Network, which has many opportunities and programs, including Hirethon, and you can be notified of any upcoming ones. A great question about the level of hiring. From Hirethon's perspective, every kind of level, from undergraduates looking for internships to postdocs and journeymen. I know the Air Force Materiel Command, and Debbie can touch more on this. They're looking for journeymen. 3 years of experience or more would be great. Air Force Materiel Command, in addition to the software engineering group that Debbie just spoke to us about, the Nuke Weapons Center is also recruiting for experienced engineers there. Great opportunities there as well that you will find on the same application. So there's opportunities there. As Dr. Melker also mentioned, the NSA Lab for Physical Sciences is looking for all kinds of levels for research. One opportunity is a program manager with experience in management, as well as some of the disciplines that LPS works on. So all kinds of levels, especially with what's currently open, there's an opportunity for everyone. Great question, thank you. Great question about contractor or federal employees. So all the Hirethon opportunities are federal government positions. So you'd be working directly for the DoD. I myself, I'm working for the DoD through a contractor. So I work for a contractor. So there is a big and important difference as you navigate the world of national security and the Department of Defense. Familiarize yourself with the difference between contractors and working directly for the government. For Hirethon, these are DoD organizations looking to hire directly for positions that they're recruiting for. If Debbie and Anna want to touch on the levels or the kind of opportunities, I would love to hear from them as well.
Fareed, I thought you did a fantastic job. So if I'm going to add anything, I absolutely have to agree with you. In the software engineering group, we hire at all different levels. We have interns, we have new grads we hire, as well as all different levels of journeymen. That to us is the best way to get the best talented workforce that we can. So that's what we're always going for with that. And yes, all the jobs that I would be working with Fareed in NSIN with this Hirethon, you would all be as a federal employee for that. So yeah, great questions, guys.
Yeah, just to add on to that, we as I said, we hire across the board, and you can see on our webpage that depending on how many years of experience you're coming in with, the salary changes. So we are prepared to have all the positions in every level.
I can see a question about where to go to apply. So I think Jonathan is helping us distribute those links. So there's a link that has multiple Hirethon opportunities, but I'm also sharing links specifically for Air Force Materiel Command and LPS that you can go directly there. They have all the information you need for that specific Hirethon. So the position descriptions, what to apply for, how to apply, very simple application. So I do encourage you to please do not hesitate and submit your application, submit your resume, and you'll be considered.
Good question. I see on here, I'll go ahead and take this. What GS level do recent college graduates start out? Usually, just kind of being very, general here, usually about a GS7. But with that though, there's certain things, it kind of depends on what you're coming in with. We can go ahead and discuss that hiring supervisor. Sometimes there's different steps that we can give you. There's incentives. But normally that's what we would have. And when I'm talking about a recent college graduate, that would be somebody like coming in with a Bachelor of Science degree coming in for us. But we're always willing to work on a lot on a case by case because so many people are coming in from different situations. Good question. David, on this, and then I'll let you take this. I'm not sure which program he means by help people understand the unique issues of working for the government. I love that, David, that you even are aware of that because you are so right with it. We are very much aware in the software engineering group. There is a concern on here on how do we make our people be able to understand the unique issues, right? It's a different culture is what I tell people. We have different traditions, we have different customs, and at least even if we don't, it's our customer, right? Because that's who I get to work with every day. Is I'm working with my active duty Air Force. Those are my main customers. So yes, sir, we do. We have a lot of that. In fact, that's exactly what my office is designed to do, is to, when you come in for your onboarding process, you're in with my particular part of the organization of the 309 Software Engineering Group for 2 weeks, usually. And what we do is we do all that onboarding. So we'll even make sure that you understand what it is as to be a GS, what are your benefits, what are your rights, and you'll go through that usually with a whole bunch of other GSs on the base. Then you'll come into the software engineering group and we'll explain even further what it means to be a GS employee for the software engineering group, because we have a little bit of different things, right? Because we're SMEs, we're working on different kinds of issues, working with a lot of classified material. We even do such things on classes on professionalism, what to recognize with the active duty, how to treat them, and we'll go over again more your benefits. Mostly as well too with that is when you work with the software engineering group, we really believe in a lot of team working together. So most of our even coding projects that we work on, it's more of a team coding or a pair coding. And that also is very helpful to make you feel to kind of bridge that gap of maybe coming from like a private sector coming into work for Department of Defense. So absolutely, we take that serious and we try to do the best that we can.
Just to add to what Debbie said about the different problems within national security and the DoD, I think for Hirethon, our mission is not only to connect the great STEM talent out there with national security work, but to allow it to change cultures and make innovation the mainstream in the DoD. So it is absolutely a great opportunity for anyone to get to know what issues they tackle, what kind of the inner workings of the federal government and the defense industry and the defense apparatus and all the complexity that comes with it, but also an opportunity to make great changes there as things are becoming more complicated. Emerging technologies are changing the way we do things. So I think the opportunity to face and tackle issues is super exciting, but also to have some effect and influence change in the way we go forward as a nation in developing our defense technologies and how we protect our servicemen and women. So absolutely great question. And I think so many great opportunities to tackle issues and to problem solve very creatively.
All right, everyone, that is it for the Q&A portion. And this concludes our special IEEE USA live stream presentation. Thank you so much, Fareed, Debbie, and Dr. Melker for joining us and for giving our viewers some insight into the job opportunities that DoD-affiliated organizations currently have. And thank you everyone. Apologies. And thank you everyone for tuning in and for your great questions for our presenters. Check back daily on our social media for future live stream updates, and we hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you.